I just want to tell you this. I love you too much to keep you the same. And if you're here right now, I'm assuming that you want a better life. I'm assuming that you want to inspire people. If that's not you, this video isn't for you. But I know it's for you because you're here. I want to tell you this and I need you to believe it. I need you to hear me. Somebody is watching you. Somebody is learning from you. Somebody is being impacted by the way you show up. And maybe you know that or you don't know that. But I want you to understand this. They're being impacted by how you show up or how you don't. And the truth is, you're either one or two things. You're either the example or you're the excuse. There's no middle ground. And I know that might sting a little bit, but it's real. You're either giving people a reason to rise or a reason to stay stuck. You're either giving people a reason to believe or a reason to settle. And by the way, you don't have to say a word. Your life is speaking for you. That's why I always challenge people. If you couldn't say one word, what would your life say? Do you just talk it or do you really live it? And hopefully after our conversation today, you're gonna live it. Because you're gonna realize how many people are dependent on you outside of yourself or dependent on you to be the best you. So number one, let's talk about influence. Let's jump right into this. Because whether you signed up for it or not, I need you to hear me. You are influencing somebody. It's not always about having followers. It's not always about having a big stage. It's not about having a blue check mark by your name to influence people. Influence starts with your presence. It starts with your consistency. It starts with your choices, the way you handle pressure, the way you show up when your back is against the wall, when storms hit your life, when things are going good, the way you talk to yourself influences all of those things. The way you bounce back after a major setback, the quiet moments when no one's looking, that's when your real example is being set. And I got to tell you this truth. Somebody, somewhere, at some time is watching what you're doing. And usually it's the people that will never say a word to you that's being influenced by you the most. According to a Harvard study, people are more influenced. And this is common sense, but I want to give you a study so you know it's real. People are more influenced by observed behavior than spoken advice. That's why you always hear parents say, don't listen to what I say, don't do what I do. That's such cap because we're always watching what people do. Your words mean nothing until your actions give us a reason to listen to your word. People aren't believing what you say, they're believing what you do. So that study has just proven that. People are more influenced by observed behavior than spoken advice. That means people aren't listening to what you say. They're studying what you do. And it's not just about your kids, coworkers, teammates, friends, siblings, and even strangers. They're watching how you handle adversity. They're watching how you handle success. They're watching how you handle rejection. They're watching how you handle when you're going through sick days. They're always watching how hard you show up when it's hard, watching how you move when no one claps. And whether you like it or not, you're setting a standard. So I got a question for you. What is your life saying to the people around you? Are you giving them something to respect? Are you giving them something to be influenced by? Are you giving them something to admire? Something to believe in? Or are you feeding the narrative that giving up is normal? Quitting is okay. Average is enough, right? You don't have to be famous to be somebody's foundation, right? You don't have to be famous to be foundational in someone's life. But I need you to understand this. Like we talk about generational curses. We talk about all these things. Somebody got to break them. We can say, oh man, I inherited this. And maybe that's true. But what I know is true is you usually can tell, and there's some exceptions for sure. But even looking at, I'm gonna just be real, my family. You look at my family, you look at my kids, and God forbid, hopefully they stay on this path. But my kids have an example in me. My kids see how I show up. My kids see how I work, how we work, my wife, all of us, the family. But I take the responsibility for me. I want to make sure that, man, when my kids see me, they see an example of success. They see an example of perseverance. They see an example of faith, and it trickles down. My kids, especially my son, he's a football player. He's doing great. He understands hard work because he saw it in me. I'm not just saying, hey, work hard, son. He sees me get up and work hard. Now I can't make him do it, but he's believed that, oh, this is normal. So when the teacher tells him that you can't be something in life, he don't believe it. Because he sees the normal every single day by how I show up, how I approach life. So my question to you is, do they see it in you? And I know I get passionate about this because I'm tired of seeing people always complain. I'm tired of seeing people be the excuse for someone else. Like, look at your family. And I'm not saying you're responsible for grown adults, you're responsible for everybody. You're not responsible, I get that. But still take the responsibility. You know why? Because it all starts with you. You see it right here. It all starts with you if you're watching me. It all starts with you. That's why I live by these words. Because I want the responsibility. And you should too. So I'm not just talking about if you don't have kids, that's cool. But you should be the friend, you should be the coworker that inspires people. That's like, dang, they really are the example. They're example of healing. They're example of going for their dreams. They're example of emotional resilience. They're an example of endurance. They're the example. They're an example of faith, or you can be the reason why people continue to live an excuse. And I'm gonna just say this right now, like if you're around me, I'm gonna make you very uncomfortable if you're a person that lives by excuses. Because I'm a person that doesn't believe in that. I'm a person that God has given us talents. God has given us everything that we need to continue to push forward, to continue to be steadfast towards the greatest version of ourselves. And I'm not saying it's always perfect, right? The people around me see how I handle adversity, see how I handle grief, see how I handle depression. I have my days for sure, but they know for a fact that Trent's always gonna bounce back. I can depend on Trent to show up. I can depend on Trent to keep the promises that he makes to himself. I'm not talking about no promise to anybody else right now, but do you lie to yourself? The people, they lying, they ain't gonna do it. They always say they gonna do something, they never do it. They always gonna say this is their year, but it's never their year. Some people don't believe you because you've been lying to yourself for so long. And I know this stings a little bit, but I care too much. I love you too much to keep you the same. Let's move forward. Let's move to accountability. Because we talk a lot about, what other people need to change, for sure. But we rarely look at the environment that we created. And I want you to think about that right now. Like, take some damn accountability over your life, especially if you're a parent, especially if you have an environment that you're responsible over. Like, what's the environment that you created? Me as a business owner, me as a leader, me as an owner. Before I point the finger at any of my employees or any of the people that are around me, I look at myself and be like, man, what's the environment that I created? Did I give them the environment of excuses? And sometimes in my past I did. So I couldn't be mad at them because they were just being a reflection of the environment that I created. And so I had to make that change. But you got to look at your life and say, man, I'm taking responsibility over this environment. I've created this environment. Every space you walk into, please listen to me. Every space you walk into has a culture, right? Every space you walk into has a culture. Your friend group has a culture. Your workplace has a culture. Your presence brings energy that either builds or breaks. A recent study, a Gallup study showed that engaged leadership, meaning people who consistently show up with intention, increases team performance by 21%. You can take this to your household. That study, this is not my words, this is a study that showed engaged leadership, meaning that, you know what? I'm gonna be mindful of how I show. I'm not gonna be mindless leaders. There's a lot of people who are leading, but they're mindless that they're even leaders. They don't take the responsibility over that. When you're an engaged leader, you're mindful about everything that you do because you know everything that you do sets the culture. Everything that you do sets the tone. Everything that you do shows people this is how we moving, this is how we rocking, this is how we doing it, right? So a study, not my words, it showed engaged leadership, meaning people who consistently show up with intention increases, listen to this, team performance by 21%. You know why? Because people match energy. I know this with being a professional athlete. When the energy is around you, it becomes very contagious. That's why I tell people, man, mindsets are very contagious. So make sure the energy you're responsible for, meaning that the energy that you give off, because you're in control of what you give, make it contagious. You can't make somebody accept your energy, right? And then maybe you probably got the wrong people around you. Maybe it's the wrong environment. But I can pretty much guarantee you, I can't 100% promise you this because I don't know who you're dealing with. But I can pretty much guarantee you, if you take responsibility for the energy and how you show up, one or two things are gonna happen. The people in your environment are gonna change, or they're gonna change their environment. They're gonna move away from you because you are too much. And I wanna tell you right now, you'll always be too much for the wrong people anyway, They reflect what's modeled. So the people around you, especially your kids, they're gonna reflect what's modeled. So if you're lazy, you pretty much can expect them to be lazy. If you're a person that always points the finger and blames and complains, oh my gosh. Now, some kids are brilliant. Absolutely. Some kids, you know what? They be like, I'm not going to be like my parents because I saw what that got them, right? There's some kids that end up not being their parents because they realize that their parents wasn't disciplined, wasn't engaged, all of those things. So I'm not going to be like that. For the majority of people, because it's so hard to break free from your environment controlling you, they're gonna reflect what's modeled. So if you're a person that's a blame and complain, you're a person that puts the responsibility on everybody else, guess what? Your kids are probably gonna be just like that. The people in your environment are gonna be just like that. So ask yourself this question, and I know this is some hard conversation, but I love you too much to what keep you the same. Ask yourself this question. What are you modeling? Okay, people say, oh, I'm not a role model. You're a real model. Facts. Your life is a real model. And I see this so often. I see it. And this might sound insensitive, but it's true. I see it in families. I see it in relationships. I see it in teams. It's like if one person is like that, if the leader is like that, then everybody under them is almost like that too. The people who aren't like that usually don't stay in that place for very long because they're allergic to average, so they move on to something that's gonna help them be great. But ask yourself this, what are you modeling? What are the people around you getting from you? You want your people to be loyal. Are you consistent, right? You want your people around you to go hard. Are you showing up with discipline? And these are conversations I had to have with myself. Again, before I point the finger at somebody else, I'm asking myself, what am I modeling? And there's been plenty of times in my life where I wasn't modeling the right thing. I said, I can't expect them to do something I'm not doing. I can't expect them to be consistent in something I'm not being consistent to. That's crazy. And so for me, I had to say, okay, I first have to change. I first have to be so obsessively consistent in my life. If they ain't even got to ask questions, they already know. If you want people to be loyal, are you consistent, right? If you want the people to go hard that's around you, are you showing up with discipline? You want respect, are you giving it? See, people talk standards. Everybody loves that standard talk, but most live in excuses. And I want you to write this down in the chat. You can't demand excellence when your habits scream comfort. You can't demand greatness when your habits scream average. You can't demand responsibility when your life shows excuses. You can't talk about commitment when you check out every time it gets hard. You want everybody around you to be committed and go hard, but when it's time for you to go hard, you disappear. When life gets real, the real you shows up. And that real you is usually complaining. That real you is running from the smoke. That real you is running from challenge. But you want everybody else to go hard, right? This ain't about being perfect. So don't get it twisted. I'm not telling you to be perfect. It's about being aligned. Your example should match your expectations. I'm gonna repeat that again. Your example should match your expectations. So if you have an expectation for somebody around you, your example should match that. They should know it. So when I tell my son, hey bro, this is what I need you to do, he don't question it because he sees it in me. When I tell my daughters, hey, this is what you need to do, they don't question it because they see it in their mama. I don't ask for something that I'm not given. I don't have an expectation of someone if I'm not the example of that, because people won't remember everything that you said. They won't, but they'll never forget how you made them feel by the way that you carried yourself. Your presence, please hear me, your presence is either building the room or it's draining it. And you get to choose which one is it gonna be. So right now, you might be a person that's draining the room. It's okay, but you can take ownership right now of your life. So I'm changing everything. I'm gonna be a person that lives it and not just talks it. I'm gonna be a person that says, man, it all starts with you. I'm gonna be a person that takes the responsibility and doesn't just live in blame and complain. Let's go deeper. Let's talk about reflection, okay? Let's go deeper in reflection, because your life reflects what you truly believe. The example of your life reflects what you truly believe. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you type. I don't care what you post. I don't care what you lie about. I can see it by how you live. I think people are idiots or something like that. They can see if you're really disciplined. They can see if you're really committed. They can see if you're really a good person, right? Your life reflects what you truly believe, not what you post, not what you preach, what you practice. That reflection shows up in your relationships, in your goals, in your attitude, in your work ethic. And the question is, if someone traded places with you, right? Because you didn't told them that you committed, you all these things. If they traded places with you, would they realize that what you were saying was true? Or would they realize like, oh, this person lying. This person really ain't living it. And it's okay if it's a lie right now. But if someone traded places with you, Would they be inspired by you? Or would they be disappointed in you? Whew. If someone traded places with you, would they be inspired by you? If your kids traded places with you, if your friends traded places with you, if your coworkers, whatever it be, would they be like, man, like, oh my gosh, I see why they're winning. Oh my, they are really about it. Would they be inspired by you? When they jump back into their life, like, man, I got to start doing this because I see what they doing every single day. Or would they be like disappointed? Like, oh my gosh, they really ain't who they say they are, right? If someone copied your mindset, would they be better off? If someone adopted your habits, would they rise or would they fall? See, we reflect something whether we meant to or not. Let me take a sip of my water real quick. We reflect something whether we mean to or not. And the people around you, your crew, your family, your partner, your circle, etc., they're watching your patterns. Not your promises, not your potential, your patterns. And according to neuroscience research, this is not me, this is neuroscience, the brain forms behavior. The brain forms behavioral defaults by what it constantly sees. That means your actions aren't just about you, right? They're not just about you. You're creating ripple effects by the way you live. So stop saying you want people around you to be better if you're not modeling what better looks like. Stop expecting everybody around you to be better if you're not modeling what better looks like. This is a relationship, this is parenthood, this is in everything, okay? You want your relationship to thrive? Show up with your presence. You want your team to go harder? Let them see what hard work looks like. You want to build deeper friendships? Let them see what loyalty feels like. You don't need a title to lead. You don't need some position to lead. Your reflection is leadership. Your reflection is teaching people what to expect from life. So ask yourself this, and please ask yourself this. What are they learning from watching you? And be real. What are they learning from watching you? Are they learning how to be better? Or are they learning just how to just accept life, how to be passive? Are they learning perseverance? Or are they learning lack of responsibility? If somebody was to trade places with you, I want to say this again because I think it's the realest thing. If somebody was to trade places with you, would they be inspired or would they be disappointed? And I'm talking about the real you, because we can lie to other people, but lying to yourself will always show up. I want you to know that. It's going to always show up. You can tell people I work out every day, I do this and I do that. It's going to show up, right? Execution never lies. The results are coming. So you can say all of these things, but it's going to show up. So the only person that you fooling is nobody, because you ain't even fooling yourself. You ain't fooling people because eventually they're going to find out that you're a fraud. They're going to find out you really ain't who you say you are. That's why I said, forget the perfection. It's okay to say, hey man, I'm learning this. I'm trying to get like this. I'm trying to be better at this. I struggle at this. It's okay. It's okay to say, man, I messed up. I didn't do this today. But some of you are so afraid to like have somebody look at you differently when I want to say this. People respect people who take ownership. I respect the person that says, man, I slept in today, or I didn't do this today. Then to sit here and lie to me, and eventually it shows that you didn't do it, because then I lose respect for you. Then I have to question everything that you say. A person should have to question everything that you say. They should have to be like, man, they should know it because you are so freaking consistent at living it. They should know it. You can tell a person, man, I run 100 miles. And they know you're so consistent and everything else. They won't even question that because they know your consistency has told the truth. Let's finish this up. I want to talk about legacy, what you're passing on while you're still here. A lot of people think legacy is when you die, but honestly, legacy is how you live, right? You're passing on legacy right now. Right now in your life, you're passing on legacy. You are passing on what they call generational health or generational curses. Right now, by how you live and show up. I don't want to hear, oh, this person had it easy because they were born into this. They were born into that. Maybe they were. But you know what? Maybe that person made sure that their kids were born into something, because your kids going to be born into something, right? The people around you, let's just talk about parenthood right quick. Your kids are going to be born into something. What are they going to be born into? And I ain't just talking about wealth and finances. But are they going to be born into an environment that demands greatness, that demands, the greatest version of themselves, that demands excellence? Or are they going to be born into an environment that's just passive? Because you can see it in people. You can see it all the time. And I'm not saying maybe you made that mistake earlier on, right in your age. I'm not saying that. Of course, I made mistakes. I don't think my kids were born into what I live now, for sure. But I took ownership. I said, man, I want to fix this. I want to change this. I want to be able to create a different legacy, right? What people know about you, what people say about you, how people remember you. And you might say, I don't care about that. Well, okay, cool. Live a passive life. Don't complain about what life gives you, though. But I know you're still here with me, so I know you care about these things. How you show up every day matters. Okay, I'm talking about what you're passing on while you're still here. Legacy isn't built in one big moment. People don't remember, they might remember one moment, but more likely it's the moments that add up. It's built in the consistency of the small ones. How you show up on days you don't feel like it. How you choose discipline over distraction. How you rise, after falling again. A 2022 study found that people who just had one consistent figure in their life, just one, someone who led by example, were 55% more likely to live with purpose and long-term resilience. Did you hear me? Just one. Just imagine if it's two. That study showed that if an individual had one consistent figure in their life, someone who led by example, because I know sometimes I don't have a husband, I don't have a wife, or I don't have this, or I don't have that, but you have you. It said if it just had one consistent figure in their life, someone who led by example, were 55% more likely to live with purpose and long-term resilience. And that's the point. Legacy lives in consistency. Not just how loud you are, not just what you say, but in how true you are. Not just in how loud you are, but in how true you are. Not the impression you make, but the impact you leave. So ask yourself this question. Are you living in a way that's worth passing on? Are you? Are you living in a way that's worth passing on? Or is somebody gonna be like, man, I don't wanna adopt that. I don't wanna adopt that person's lifestyle. I don't wanna adopt that person's mindset. Man, I live every single day. I'm not saying people wanna adopt my mindset, but I live every single day thinking about that. If I had to give my kids or the people around me a mindset, I would want it to be mine. I take ownership and pride in that. I wouldn't want people around me to be like, man, I don't want Trent's mindset. Heck no. Like, his mindset gonna make my life worse. I want people around me to ask me, man, how did you get your mindset like that? Like, I want a mindset like that. I want some resilience like that. I want some consistency like that. I want some commitment. I want that. I want some heart like that. And I have people ask me that all the time because of how I show up for the last, 15 years when I made the decision that this is gonna be my life. Are you being the proof that greatness doesn't require perfection? It just requires commitment. And I want to be clear. I'm not trying to tell you have to be perfect. Don't take that from this message. Well, Trent, I'm not perfect, so I'm not making impact. I told you plenty of times, you don't have to be perfect to live in purpose. Greatness doesn't require perfection. Nobody's perfect. It doesn't require perfection. It just requires commitment. When you dedicate your life to progression, you will live legendary. When you dedicate your life to progression, you will make an impact that can't be measured. I promise you this. Someone will model their life based on how they saw you live yours. So before you complain about your kids, before you complain about your team, before you complain about your friends, just ask yourself, what model am I giving them? And if you can say, man, I'm giving them the best model that I can, they just chose something different, hey, you can't control everybody. But if you're gonna say, man, I need to be better, that's great. Now my only ask of you is to get better, okay? Because somebody somewhere at some time is watching what you do. So if you want to shift your family life, right, the line of your family, your friend group, your team, your circle. Just make sure they find greatness in you. Make sure they find belief. Make sure they find growth. Make sure they find truth. Don't let them have to look to a stranger, to a celebrity, to someone they'll never meet when they had you. Take it personal, man. I don't want my kids to look to somebody they don't know online. Like, it's cool they follow people, whatever. But I want them to see greatness in dad. I don't want my friends around me to be like, man, I got to find somebody who can hold me accountable. I got to find somebody who can inspire me. Nah, I want to be that person. I want to be the person that inspires my friends. I want to be the person that shows people, man, there's greater. I want to be the person that shows people that it's possible. And that's what I want for you. I want you to be that person because it's possible, because you can be that person. You're a choice away. You're a freaking choice away. You're a choice away. Stop giving yourself excuses. Right? Stop talking about the past that you can no longer change or control or do something about. But right now, you can make a decision, say, you know what? I'm going to be a real model. And I'm going to make sure that I model everything I believe. I'm going to make sure I believe in legacy every single day. Not just when I die, because you live in legacy regardless. Either at your funeral, they're going to lie about you and say that you were great when they know that you wasn't. They say you were this type of person when they know that you wasn't. And we all know people like that. We all been to funerals and be like, that wasn't that person. God forgive me, but it's real. Or you can be a person, when they talk about you, everybody in the room is in agreement. That's how they was with my mama. Everybody in the room looked around and said, yep, that was her. Yep, she cared about people. Yep, she showed up for people. There was no doubt in that room that my mother wasn't the person that everybody said that she was. It was consistent speech about her life. They didn't have to make anything up. And that's how I live my life. I don't want people to have to make things up when I die and say, oh, Trent was a great person when they knew I wasn't. Or Trent was this when they knew I wasn't. I want people to know and be like, yep, everybody said the same thing, because that's how he showed up consistently. That was a legacy that he wanted to leave. That was a legacy that he lived. So again, I'll end with what I started. I love you too much to keep you the same. You've been playing small long enough. You've been carrying excuses that weren't never meant for yours to carry. You've been waiting for the right moment, the right opportunity, the right support, etc. When the truth is, it starts with a decision to be an example, even when it's hard, even when it's quiet, even when nobody says thank you, even when you're not celebrated. Every single day you live your life, you are setting a tone. You're building a legacy, right? And you are the proof that someone else is waiting for. So the next time you doubt yourself, the next time you feel like giving up, the next time you wonder if it matters, remember this: somebody's watching, somebody's hearing, somebody's learning, somebody's becoming based on what you show them is possible. So show them something real, something true, something they can build on. Because the truth is, you're either the example or the excuse, and it's time to choose. But like I always tell you, it all starts with you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you because you're about to take ownership over your life. I'm proud of you because you're about to be the example that your environment needs. It's in you. Now it's time for you to believe. It's rehab time. Let's get it. Share this with somebody who needs it. Comment below if you're with me. And make sure if you're watching me, watch the next video to keep this momentum going. Let's get it.